Hello everyone. So I talked about this on my live stream, and if many people wouldn't know Cavan Town particularly, the area of Cavan Town or the town hall there, you wouldn't really understand. So I try and explain as best I can, but many people probably watching this would know from Cavan and they know what I'm talking about. So as you know, there's always been a toilets at the town hall there in Cavan, near the bus house, near the old guards barracks, and they say Phelan School there, in the centre of the town there. Now the toilets were there for a good few years, probably since the 70s, 80s, particularly around that point. So obviously they have been knocked in the last few days to make way for a stage for the town hall for the summertime and stuff like that under the county development plan 2040. The development of obviously the old abbey and X, Y, and Z around the whole town to modernise it, if that makes any sense. So obviously, first of all, I don't see the point in the stage because again during the winter you wouldn't have a stage during the winter now, you'd be frozen, and even during the summer, for concerts and stuff like that, it'd be few and far between. You would have good days to use it. And I think the public toilets, and I know people say you can go to the bus hours that's around the corner, just around the corner from it. But my point is that the public toilets were always there, and should have stayed there. Shouldn't have been knocked. To be totally honest, and a lot of people agree with me. Even though the bus station is open, but again, people shouldn't have to go into the bus station to go toilet. The toilet should have been there from the start. It should still be there. They shouldn't have been knocked at all. If they wanted, they could have been the stage somewhere else. But they shouldn't have knocked the toilets that were there. That's my opinion on it. It's not fair. And the other toilets are up at Tesco. If you know where Tesco is in the top of the town there, there's two public toilets there beside the cinema, beside the cinema in Cavan. Um, they're the only two public toilets that are public. The bus station ones are obviously owned by Bus Air and not owned by the local authority. And again, the other day I was informed that they were closed. They were closed for a good few hours, for a good 6 or 7 hours of the day. On last Wednesday, they were closed for a good 6 or 7 hours, and people had to go to the other side of the town to go toilet. Now, my point too is in a lot of places in the town, restaurants and bars and things like that, you have to buy a drink or something before they allow you in to go toilet. And obviously for elderly people too, it's a lot of them having to run around half the country to go toilet. The public toilets were always there. They should have stayed there. To be totally honest, in my opinion. I don't believe why they should have had put a stage there. To be totally honest, I don't see the point in why they did. I don't see the point. They could have put it somewhere else. They could have put it out in Consmith Park there, out by Cavan Institute. They could have put it there. Uh, they could have put it in other places too if they wanted. They could have put it out there where Argus is at the moment. Uh, they could have put it in many other places, but I'm sure I can understand where the town hall is, but there would be acts and stuff in the town hall and stuff that can do it outside in the good weather and stuff like that. But I still don't think they should have got rid of the toilets. And if so, if they got rid of the toilets there and they're going to knock them, they should build other toilets somewhere else in the town for people to use. Because we often see this in this country. We've seen they don't want public toilets. They don't want to have to maintain them and things like that. We've seen this constantly around the whole country, not just in Cavan and other places too. They don't want public toilets, particularly on beaches too. Years ago, there used to maybe been public toilets on beaches and stuff like that. And nowadays, they don't want to have public toilets. They want people basically to go in their hands, basically, and they put it in the bag and bring it home with them. At this point in time, and this is nearly the situation. Because in many places, years ago there was toilets, now there's none. We see this nowadays, and obviously when you need to go toilet, you can't hold it. Obviously, you can't hold it, and obviously if you do hold it, it causes damage to your bowels and things like that. Now you think of an old woman or an old man needing to go toilet. You happen to run around half the country and them on maybe a walking aid or a walking stick. It's not very fair on them. It's okay for a young person having to go to another place in another part of the town or anything to go toilet and things like that. And as I say, not everybody, and this is the point they're making too, not everybody has the money to go into a bar and into a restaurant to buy supper. Not everybody has it. We have to be totally honest with you. Maybe they're going in to collect the pension if an old woman's there and they have to pay for the heating bill. They have to pay for the electricity. It all adds up, and they have to pay for the car insurance and X, Y, and Z. And them on their pension, only a few bob a week in a pension. It's not the politicians' salaries they're on. Uh, and it's not fair. It's not fair with them. And again, as I say, if they were not, they are knocked, obviously. So that my opinion is if they should build other toilets somewhere else, either be out in Consmith Park or in another part of the town that's not being used, in a even knock down a building in some part of the town that's not being used and use that for public toilets, etc., etc., etc. But I firmly believe there was no need for the stage there. The Betolians, there was no need. I think the toilet should have stayed there. They could have built the stage somewhere else if they wanted to. That's just my opinion, because I honestly think that it should have. There always should be public toilets in town centres, in main towns, Cavan, Monaghan, and other places too. And I know a lot of the people are in the town and in Cavan alone are very upset about he used to use the toilet. I know, even though my father used to use the toilet there, when he needed to go collect his pension in Cavan town, and different things like that. He used to, he'd be able to use the toilet there before he go up to the post office, which was just around the corner too. But my point is, it's not fair. It's not fair to have knock it. If you knock something, you should replace it somewhere else. That's my view. But it's already been done. But again, this is my point. There should always be public toilets in areas where there's demand for them. Obviously, in the back end of a road where nobody goes down, obviously there's no need to have a public toilet there. I'm sure you don't understand what I'm saying. But if it's in the main set of a town or anything, there should be public toilets. And again, the ones at the town hall are bigger than the ones at Tesco. There's only two at Tesco, one for men and one for women. In the town hall, for the men's, there used to be urines, and there used to be stalls. There used to be 3 or 4 stalls in it for people. And the one, obviously the two in the town, and then in the bus hours, there's only, I think, only 2 stalls maybe, and a few urines for the men's, and I think the same in the women's, only with 3 stalls. So obviously you have a more lack of toilets, and obviously more demand, and people be waiting for the use of the toilets, and that's why instead. And obviously then you have people going on getting off buses and stuff at the bus hours to go toilets. So you have a huge amount of people probably going to them toilets in the bus hours all the time throughout the day. So you're putting more demand on a system that's already overloaded, if that makes any sense. So why would you do that? It doesn't make sense, but sure. I don't know. I don't know, but I hope maybe they will decide. The municipal district will decide to build toilets somewhere else. Because again, as I say, there should be always public toilets in public towns under public ownership, under the local authorities. And obviously should be maintained to the best of the ability. Obviously I know myself, I have maintained a few toilets myself, local toilets and stuff like that, under local community toilets, if that makes any sense. And it is difficult to keep it up and going. I will say that it is difficult. I know from experience. But you have to try and power through it and get it done. Because at the end of the day, you're there to serve the public. You're there to do the job, and obviously the taxpaying dollars go towards that. So you have to make sure the public are looked after. That's what I see. Yes. Thank you.